it was just the greatest, besides the whatever Jordan getting his sneakers banned.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like the greatest marketing revelation of all time. Like Phil Knight is a gangster for that. Like,
dude,
and
like think about it. Like even like your rivals,
Tinker Hatfield, my bad.
Yeah.
He's the one who pushed for it.
Yeah. But even like your rivals are doing like pump up and air out. Like that's how big of a deal it was.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sneaker Enthusiast Podcast, where my brother and I sit down every week and geek out over all things related to sneakers. My name is Brian.
I'm Nacho.
And thank you so much for listening to the show. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Today's 4th of July, and we had to get it in because I'm about to leave town. So I pulled my brother in to record this podcast.
This is our first ever podcast.
This is our first ever video podcast. We've been doing podcasting for a minute.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I know it kind of feels weird, like talking to you like directly across and things like that.
It is a little weird, but
I like it. You know what I mean? It's a step up, right?
It's a step up. It's an upgrade, and this is something that I've always wanted to do. So I'm excited to be able to finally do a video podcast. But today is episode number 1. This is episode number 1, our very first episode. And since it's our first episode, I figured it would be fitting to do the sneaker that made you a sneakerhead. So the first whiff of the culture that got you hooked, the very first one, because this is our first podcast, I thought that would be a great topic. And a ton of you guys wrote in with your stories. We got over 76 comments on this week's topic, which is insane.
That is a lot.
It is a lot. And I'm excited to get into it. But before we get into that, it's time for our very first edition of our Notorious Intro. Notorious! And since this is our very first episode, let me warn you guys right now that the Notorious Intro is going to be a little long, but it's a lot of fun. We're going to talk sneakers, and we're going to shoot the shit with my brother. And I recommend you don't skip it because it's kind of like the appetizer before the main meal.
I like that. I like the way that sounds.
The salsa before, the salsa and tortilla chips before the plato de carne asada.
Yeah, the buffalo wings before the pizza.
I like that.
I like that too.
The buffalo wing before the pizza, which we're about to have.
Blue cheese or ranch?
Ranch, bro.
Blue cheese, dog.
You're a blue cheese guy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was a ranch dude, but now I'm a blue cheese dude.
The older I get, the more
the more I'm
like, yo, give me the blue cheese. Let me try the blue cheese.
Yeah. It's just to switch it up. You know what I mean?
It has to be quality though.
Oh, Mando.
Can't be bottled.
No.
But if you'd like to skip to the main topic of today's episode, you can check out the timestamps in the show notes. We just have to get these plugs out the way. So we have a Patreon, and for as little as $2 a month, you get access to our Sneaker Enthusiast Facebook group where my brother Nacho and myself and 5,000 other group members post about sneakers on the daily. Right now, we're going to be doing a huge sneaker battle tournament in there with the playoff style brackets and trophies and everything. It's going to be really dope. We also do monthly group member spotlights where we go live with a member from the group and let them share their sneaker collection with us. It's a lot of fun. It's been kind of a hit in the... Are you enjoying it in the group?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. You know what I mean? I like the fact that we can showcase one of our members in there, you know what I mean? And get, like, everyone's perspective, because everybody has different tastes, especially when it comes to sneakers.
Yeah, it's really fun. And one of the categories is the sneaker that made you a sneakerhead. That's the one we open up with. So if you want to show the sneaker that made you a sneakerhead, we can highlight you as a group member, but you got to be in the group, and you do that by joining the Patreon. But it's a great way to support the show, and it also gives you the ability to submit comments, questions, and participate in Wear One, Remake One, Erase One, which is a segment we're going to do here real soon. And signing up for the Patreon also allows you to hear us butcher your name like we're about to do to these people.
Yeah.
A huge thank you to our most recent patrons, Mark Mack, E.B., Twee, William Andrew Coggins, Brian Sanchez, Dennis Chaco, I think I'm saying that right, Dennis Chaco, Daniel Piliapil, It's Sirens, Darian Andre Rawls, Robert Brown, Tony Ray Jr., and John Guz de Guzman, who's been with us since day one.
Yes, he has.
Welcome to the Sneaker Enthusiast family, www.patreon.com/NachoAverageFinds if you're interested in joining.
And we promise we will rehearse those names before we say them again.
Nah,
Nah.
Now we're going off the cup. Next time I'm gonna make you read. I'm gonna make you read them next time.
I feel bad for him already.
That's why I'm doing the bulk of the talking right now, guys, because my brother.
What?
You got to be the guy who's unprepared who shows up, and I got to be the prepared guy.
Oh, okay.
That's just how our personalities worked.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's enough of us selling our souls. Let's sell some of your souls. It is our opening segment here on the show. We'll read a few comments, questions from our group members, usually sneaker related, but not always. And we call this segment SoleSwap.
Your soul is mine.
And our first SoleSwap this week comes in from Andy Coleman over in the UK. He asks, what was a new design silhouette that released and failed that you think should have received more appreciation?
A new silhouette design, huh?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. If we're going on a tech or are we going on a style type aspect or both?
It could be both. It could be whatever. Just like a silhouette that you were like, damn, this is going to change the game, or this is something I really vibe with, and it just failed.
I'm going to say the Vapor Max, honestly. I mean, I know it kind of took out. I know it kind of took off, but it doesn't look right on a lot of shoes. You know, it was one of those things where like I felt like they just it was almost like it was supposed to be different from Air Max.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? Because it has the pods and stuff like that, and people were like, "Whoa, this is supposed to be."
Right.
And in all honesty, it really isn't that different.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I feel like it was more of a gimmick to rival the Adidas Ultra Boost, because those were the few years where, you know, the Adidas was killing Nike.
Yeah.
As far as like in the innovation of comfort and all that other stuff,
especially in the US.
Yeah. So to me, it's and then they put them on like everything, every Air Max, like, you know, retro that they had. They were like, well, let's just put in the Vapor Max sole on there. And I don't know. I just do you really see people wearing? I mean, you see like casual folks wearing them, I guess, but like, is it someone who's an actual sneakerhead or a sneaker, you know what I mean, or into sneakers, rocking the Vapor Max like casually out here?
Yeah, it wasn't really. It was kind of like I wouldn't say it's a commercial failure or anything, but it was supposed to be like the peak of Air.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it was like how do we take Air to the next level? And that was supposed to be it.
That was it. Yeah.
You know, and it's like I understand that, like, you know, they already came out with an Air Max 360.
Yeah.
So it's like, how much can you really do with Air? But yeah, like the way it sounded was amazing and cool, and it was like, whoa, like these guys have had Air in their shoes for, you know, ages, and then they come out with this, and to me it was a little lackluster.
Yeah.
And then there's like complete bombs too, like the Reebok ZigTech or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like those like completely like failed. I thought it was a pretty cool concept, you know what I mean? They had like John Wall.
You remember the Adidas Micro Bounce, like the grasshopper looking outsole? You know what I'm talking about? It kind of looks like almost like roller skates. It's a really weird. No, it's called a Micro Bounce. Adidas Micro Bounce.
The microblade ones?
Yeah, Microblade. My bad.
Yeah,
that technology was a little bit of a trip, right?
Yeah, like I said, like things like that. Those just, I'm not really gonna hate on that one too much because that one was a little bit more performance based.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it allegedly was supposed to give you like a little spring, almost like it, because it looked like a springboard. But like to wear those casually, nah, it just wasn't. It wasn't it. But like the Vapor Max, you know what I mean? Like there's tons of other Nike running options minus the Vapor Max. So to me, and they try to push it as a lifestyle. They never did that thing with the spring blade. You know what I mean? It just, or I don't even know if we're even saying the name right.
We'll get it right. I'll put it in the edit somehow. But yeah, shout out to Andy for writing in. I'm a fan of the Vapor Max, but appreciate you writing in, Andy. For our next soul selling person, we got William Hockman Sr., who he's kind of hating this week. He says, why does David have baby teeth in a grown-ass man's body?
Oh, man. Well, you know what I mean? Like, it's believe it or not, it's one of the very few. I'm a pretty confident dude. You know what I mean? Like, I feel handsome, you know, even with my bad teeth. But as a young child, I was very afraid of the dentist. And
same.
And yeah, man, it just the dental hygiene didn't kick in until later on in life. Yep. And let me tell you, it's one of my biggest regrets. But if this podcast takes off, you know what I mean? Maybe your boy could be out here just shining with veneers, you know?
Veneers?
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna do a big. We're gonna take you to TJ.
Ooh, but I need that big grill, like the Johnny Dang grill. You know, we just, you know.
Thanks, Big Will, for contributing. Next up, we got Christopher Shingler. I hope I'm saying your name right, dude. Christopher Shingler. He writes in and asks, what's the deal with Converse never doing a retro of the Triple Double or the MX Thrillin? Was there a fallout with Magic Johnson? I've been dreaming of those kicks for decades. Have you ever seen this silhouette?
I have.
Yeah, so it kind of looks like it almost looks like a Jordan.
Yeah,
in a way, it's kind of almost like a ripoff.
Kind of,
right?
It reminds me of the Weapon. You mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Weapon. It has that style, that aesthetic of the time.
80s, yeah.
Yeah, of the time of the 80s basketball shoe. But I think the reason why they never happened or anything like that is just because ever since Nike bought them out, man, they pretty much treat them like a redheaded stepchild.
Right.
You know what I mean? They do bring out some retros here and there, but for the most part, all they do is really just make their money off the Chuck Taylor, the Converse All-Star. And they have different variations of that, from putting on the Lunaron sole in them and everything like that. The 79s.
When did they buy Converse? Do you know?
I don't
like
remember.
In 2000s or something?
Yeah, I don't remember. Because, Converse, I don't even know. They were I think they were still independent when they had D Wade. And believe it or not, the D Wades, the Converse D Wades, those were actually really nice.
I've never seen them.
You know what I mean? They look pretty cool.
Yeah.
They look pretty cool. They kind of remind me of the Antoine Walker Adidas, in a sense. But they were cool. It was a cool, it was cool at the time and things like that. But like I said, I don't know. Converse doesn't really retro a whole lot of their like 80s and 90s. They retro like their early models, like the Pro Leather and things like that. But as far as like the cool ones, and I think they retroed like the what was it, like it has like
they need to retro the Dennis Rodman ones.
Those are pretty dope.
Those are dope. Yeah.
Those are dope. No, and then maybe they just don't want to pay royalties.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
And then in the 80s, my theory was, and I don't know, like I wasn't even around in the 80s. I was born in 1990, but Nike didn't own Converse back then, so there's a possibility that they could have like apprehended Converse.
Yeah.
Because it looks so much like a Jordan.
Yeah.
I forget if it's the Triple Double or the MX Thrillin', but one of those two looks really similar to like I think a Jordan 3. And so maybe, they got apprehended because, that it was a war back then, like between the shoe companies, and they used to do stuff like that. So, I mean, who knows, now that Converse owns Nike, maybe in the future we'll see a retro.
Also, I hear that like some, especially companies that go through buyouts and stuff like that, like they lose their archive.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's wild. Like I always heard that like, because if you look at like the original like Fila, we're gonna go into Fila, like the Grant Hill and stuff like that, they had a really hard time. They had to remake that shoe just from the sketches, I think, the retro ones, because they didn't have like one in the vault to look at and to be like, oh, this is what it is. And companies with a lot of staying power, such as like Adidas and Nike and even Reebok, that have that large.
Yeah, they have a whole department.
Yeah,
archiving.
Yeah. So I think those guys are able to go into the vault, and be like, oh, we could make this now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if maybe Converse during lost all that during the acquisitions.
Could have happened.
Whatever.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see something like that happening because they didn't have they didn't know that retro was going to be cool.
Yeah. Nobody did.
Yeah. But shout out to Christopher for writing in. Our buddy Q, one of the admins in the group who loves to abuse his power, has a question. He says, Brian, your voice is so soothing. Have you ever thought about reading children's audiobooks? I have, actually. I have thought about doing this.
Really?
Yeah. Because I do think I get so many comments about people telling me that my voice is so soothing.
Yeah, man, you got the voice like you
and I'm not doing anything different to my voice. This is just how I've always talked. And most people have always told me that I sound like real deadpan and like bored.
Yeah.
Depressed, or even. I've even had people tell me like,
oh yeah,
in the comments of our videos.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, we have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Called NachoAverageFinds, which is we've done pretty well with. You should check it out. Just in case you're watching this and you haven't seen our videos.
Yeah, if you're like just stumbled upon us and went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, but anyways, I've always, I always get that. So I have actually thought about like doing just not children's books, but more like cartoons, like kids' cartoons. But yeah, just to answer your question, Q, our next write-in for SoleSwap is Michael Taylor. He says, "Here's a hard one. Pause. Do you think the predicted recession will cause resale sneaker prices to drop?"
Yes and no.
I think I think they will.
In all honesty, here's my theory. Okay,
and
here's just my off the wall. You know what I mean?
That's why we got you on here.
Yeah. So my theory is, sneakers and sneaker collecting is a young man's game. All right. Okay. And most of these kids, they still live at home and they're making a lot of money now.
For
you know
their
what I mean?
age, yeah.
Like for their age. Like, you know what I mean? Like even like in our state in California, the minimum wage is like $15. Okay. Imagine that. And you get to take home the whole thing and your mommy and daddy are still paying for the lights in your house. You know, so they have like a lot of spending cash.
Right.
That's if they don't like contribute or help out and stuff like
Right.
that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just I feel like it won't really affect it.
You think? Yeah. You know what? I think if the government goes the way of like, because we're here in California where we are, apparently, if you're a car registered owner, they're going to send you $800, sometime in October or something like that. If the government keeps doing things like that, I think sneakers are still they're going to keep going because people were just, people were going to be like, oh, I have an extra $800 and they're going to spend their money on. I mean, I spent a lot of my stimulus money on sneakers. I'm not going to lie, but I think the more money they pump into the system like that, the more people will buy things like sneakers, not as like an alternative asset, but just because, they have money all of a sudden, free money that was printed or whatever. So I don't know. And it also, will they drop? If, like I said, if that happens, no. But if the recession happens, I think they will. I think that's the first thing. Like, if you really had to, would you sell some of your sneakers or some of your vintage hats?
No.
To pay the rent?
I mean, yeah, probably if it was really that bad, I guess those are like I guess that would be an asset that can go, but
that would be like the first one to go.
Yeah. But like,
I'm pretty sure your wife would be like, yo.
Yeah. I'm not married yet, but you know what I mean?
Your girl.
Yeah.
You should be married. You've been with her for like 20 years. So
11, but yeah. Hey, I'm going to marry you one day. You know what I mean? Yeah. But anyways.
She doesn't watch this at all. Trust me. She hates
no,
this.
but yeah, man, it's like, I don't know. It's sneakers will be popular. Like now, it's so fluid, like because there's so many releases now, like a ton. And so there being so many releases, like sometimes things can either go up or things can either go down. The majority of the time it goes up.
Yeah.
But then like if you wait a few months, there's some sleepers. But like there's always like a little window of opportunity before the price goes back up. Like right now, right? A sneaker that I'm looking at, right? And I know that it's on sale because I buy everything on sale, and is going to be the Nike Air Structure.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's going to be cheap.
All right, yeah, and they're on sale, right?
Yeah.
But eventually, let's say 2-3 years from now,
they're going to be coveted.
They're going to be coveted.
Yeah, because people are going to be like, oh, you need to retro those.
Yeah, and that is the whole point of keeping things on ice, But like I said, certain things have waves up and down. The price of like we're gonna get the Chicago,
God,
the Chicago one, right?
I need that.
Yeah, and it's nice. I want it. Even I want it. But I think it'll bring down the price of the previous one. Like,
of course,
for a little bit, and then it'll go back up, and then it'll swing. It's just like So that's just the way it goes.
Well, there'll still be market dynamics, and we'll see what happens. But appreciate you, Michael, for writing in. And before we move on, it is Big Nacho's letter time.
Mail time.
Mail time. Mail time. The mail's here. Come on. Bye, guys.
Originally, I was going to have you read the letter, but since you're all the way over there, I'm just going to read the letter. So they're writing into you, bro.
Man.
So you're like, right now, you're like you're like the sneakers Mr. Rogers.
Nice.
So somebody wrote into you. His name is Joshua R. Lumbreas. He writes in and asks, does Adidas have the right to make its own Yeezy variant, i.e. the Oziella, the Invader straps, and the Addy FOM or Addy FOM or whatever it's called? I don't know if you saw that slide that Adidas is coming out with that, and Yeezy made Kanye threw a fit about it. I don't think he's throwing a fit about it. I think he has a point. But I mean, it's all business. You know how that works. But what do you think? Do you think they have the right to be doing that, or like they're really like taking all his when we were at Marshall's yesterday, I saw some Adidas there that looked like some Wave Runners. Like it had the same toe box and everything, and they're really just milking Kanye's like this is Kanye's thing, So I do personally, before you answer it, let me just say I do feel kind of like I kind of have to side with Kanye on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I believe that Kanye's sneakers, like the Yeezy line, is extremely expensive.
That's
right?
true. Yes.
And that's even with resale. You know what I mean? And I believe that a watered down, or like, everything has tiers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But like, everybody deserves an opportunity to wear something within that style.
Okay.
That's my opinion. So I have no I don't feel bad. You know what I mean? Kanye ain't missing no money. You know what I mean?
He's a billionaire. Yeah.
Like he got a hefty contract, but I feel that Adidas can put out whatever they feel like. You know what I mean? Like, you're under contract with them. They're really the ones that hold the juice. You know what I mean? You're using their distribution and their infrastructure, and their design team.
Mm-hmm.
To design the products that are yours. And don't get me wrong, like, there is a huge influence because the Kanye effect is huge.
Right.
The Kanye effect is huge. But I don't see a problem with it. You know what I mean? And some stuff even looks even better than the stuff that's out. Like, and it's different.
Right.
Like I
don't. I mean, they look like the foam runners, kind of, but they have like a better shape and they have laces.
Right.
You saw those?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called. I think that might be the ADFOM, or forgive me, I don't know the names of them, but I think those, I want those.
Yeah, they look cool, right?
They look cool. Yeah, they like kind of go more with the shape of your foot. They don't look like Squidward's feet.
Yes.
But it is like deliberately like riffing on what Kanye started. Like that's but he's still, you know what, in the end I think he'll still get the credit, for changing the culture and all that stuff and being the game changer. But it is I think for Adidas it is kind of like risky for them to be doing this, because Kanye can walk. He could go to Nike and be like, yo.
Yeah, but Nike did the same thing. If you remember the Victor Cruz, you know what I mean? The Victor Cruz looked just like the Yeezy.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's like everybody kind of does the same thing. You know what I mean? I think it was just one of Kanye's spaz moments. You know what I mean? The dude obviously has.
I don't know. I at first it was that, but then I saw like some of the other things that are going to be coming out in this collection, and coming up for Adidas, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah,
like,
that's just. I mean, it's just the style, and like I said, they're getting their money's worth out of whatever's popular at the time.
Yeah. Thank you, Joshua, for writing in, and thank you to everyone who wrote in. It's time to switch things up a little bit, and we're going to do our beloved segment that we do here, or we've been doing on our podcast. This is our first time doing it in video form. It is called Wear One, Remake One, Erase One. So the rules are simple. Each week, I'll post a graphic in the Facebook group with 3 sneakers. One of those 3 sneakers you have to wear. One you have to remake and say what you would change about the sneaker. You have to do that, because if you don't, then we won't read your comment on here. And then finally, the last one, you have to erase forever, meaning it's gone from the universe, wiped off the planet. Gone, dog. So forever. This week, we're doing the New Balance ALD 650R, the high top joints, the Puma LaMelo Ball 1.0, the Rick and Morty joints with the multicolored, the left and the right sneaker are different colors, and then the Union LA Air Jordan 2 collabs with the perforated holes in there. You know which ones I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Our first write-in comes in from Kevin Ochoa. Shout out to Kevin. He interviewed me for one of his university school projects or something like that, and I got to like link up with him. It was kind of cool.
What university?
I think somewhere in like Tennessee or something. Oh. Sorry, Kevin, if you're watching, I forgot. But it was cool. Like we got to bond a little bit. But
that's cool.
He said the new so he would wear the New Balance 650R. He says amazing looking 80s basketball silhouette, quality leather and terra lining, one of the most comfortable and attractive shoes of all time. He said he would remake the Puma Mellow 1 Rick and Morty. Love the neon colors, but don't love the mismatch colors. Would love both green and red on both shoes, or pairs of both shoes instead of one each. I also could go without the feather pattern around the top of the ankle, or the Chinese finger trap pattern at the bottom. And he says he would erase the Jordan 2 Union. Sorry, but I can't stand luxury sneakers. So this was an easy choice. Too pricey, too hard to acquire, too gaudy, and usually sacrifices comfort and function for luxury's sake. So he's erasing the Jordan 2, the Union Jordan 2. He's remaking the LaMelo Ball Puma, and then he's going to wear the New Balance 650R. What's your take on that? What do you think about my man's tastes?
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty there on par with what I would say. You know, I mean, You already know I'm a big New Balance guy.
Right.
I'm a New Balance guy. But believe it or not, there is a twist there. I actually like the Union, the Jordan 2s, because I am a Jordan 2 fan.
Yeah.
And some of those colorways look really nice. You know what I mean? Like, and then the materials and stuff like that. Because I actually seen them in person, you know, and they look really nice.
They do, yeah.
I was like, they look primo. But
this always happens with the Jordan 2. You notice that? Like, we get like the images or sometimes the mock-ups, and we're like, what are they doing? And then like somehow like the hype seeps in, or I don't know what it is. We see them in person, and we're like, ooh.
What I like about
actually kind of nice.
What I like about the Jordan 2 is the fact that it was made to be a luxury basketball sneaker, and they're actually doing luxury. You know what I mean, with the whole Italian leather and all that other stuff. Yeah. So I like I like what they did with it. You know, the 650R, it's pretty much the 550 just in a high.
Right.
You know what I mean? Exactly and then they're gonna put a vintage sole on it, and it just looks nice, and it's perfect for what's hot right now at the moment. You know what I mean, as far as trends. You know, with the whole 80s basketball theme. So that one is totally wearable.
Right.
But if I could keep one, it would be the Jordan 2. Obviously, I'm old. Rick and Morty, I've only seen it like as I'm surfing through the channels.
Right.
I know it's huge. I know it's huge and all that other stuff, but I don't know anything about it. And I'm not a huge fan of modern sneakers.
Right.
You know, I'm not. Like there hasn't been I think the last modern sneaker that I could say I really, really liked is gonna be the Nike Racer. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I haven't seen that. That was years ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
The neon.
Yeah. The Flyknit Racer.
Yeah, I love the Volt. I love the Volt colorway. But yeah, shout out to Kevin for writing in. I'll talk more about what I would wear, change, and erase later on in the segment. Next we got our probably the biggest Puma head I know. The homie, his name is Tony, I believe. He calls himself Arlo Tone. He says, "Wear the neon Puma. I mean, it's all about being a peacock in the game." All right, so he's trying to peacock with his colorful sneakers. Course. He says he's going to remake the New Balance, maybe into a pre-half cab, or by taking a knife to them and chopping the top off. So I guess for him they're a little too high, and I kind of agree with that. For me, the 650 is just a little too high for me. It's a little too much of a high top. Like, I think I might have short legs. I don't know. Like, a lot of people tell me I have like broad shoulders and stuff. I'm not really aware of like what I look like or like when I read books and stuff and people get described and stuff, I'm like, I don't know. But I think I might have short legs. I don't know. But I feel like I don't look good in high tops. Yeah. So I wouldn't wear them. And then he said he would erase the Jordan 2. He says it's shocking that people even like these now.
Well, like I said,
did we buy into the hype? Do you think 10 years from now we're gonna be like, damn?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because, like I said, I've always really liked the Jordan 2. And I like the Jordan 2 because it looks a lot like an Air Force One. Yeah. You know, I'm a big Air Force One guy. You know what I mean? He is right, a little bit right about the 650R. You know what I mean? It is a little high. It is a little too high. But I mean, like, that's what you have the 550 for. So, I mean, it serves its purpose in a sense. Yeah. And, you know what I mean? It's like there's like this weird thing about high top sneakers that I feel like if they're high top, they're automatically luxury, like a luxury. It implies luxury now, right? Because I think because of what happened with Supra, like, do you remember that shoe that they had? I forget which one it was. The Tunchis?
No, they were
the Little Wayne ones.
These are Schmuskas. Yeah. I forget what they were called, but they were really high. Right. They just kept getting higher and higher. They got crazy, and then Little Wayne would wear them like they're like triple high tops, and it kind of got like associated like. Those Ricardo T-shirts that you have, they're like super high. Like, I don't know, for whatever reason, high top means luxury. So I think with Aimé Leon Dore and that model, I feel like kind of implies luxury. So I could see, why they went with that. Like, it's more on brand for Aimé Leon Dore to do a high top as opposed to like a.
I just think it looks like a retro basketball.
Looks like a retro. Okay, I can agree with that too. But shout out to Arlo Tone for writing in. Next up, we have Michael Taylor. He says he would wear the New Balance 650R, just a classic sneaker. He said he would remake the Union LA Air Jordan 2, but in an OG Chicago colorway, which I think would be super fire, like with the same like perforated holes. I think that would be sweet. And then he would erase forever the Puma Mellow Ball 1.0 Rick and Morty collab because it's Puma. So let's talk about that shoe for a second. So that's the first model for LaMelo Ball. If you guys don't know, LaMelo Ball is he's the starting point guard for the Charlotte Hornets. He's kind of like he's
the ball that made it.
He's the ball that made it. Yeah, his brother, he's good, but he's not that good.
Right.
And I mean, I don't want to say he's not that good. I mean, he's an NBA player. He's great. He plays for the Bulls, but LaMelo Ball he's special. Like, you got to keep your eyes on this guy. He might be one of the greatest, point guards to do it. But we're not doing basketball takes. I like that sneaker a lot, dude. A lot. Like I want a pair. Like when we went to Foot Locker and I was looking at it, and like they did like a Galaxy version of it. Or I don't know the exact name of the colorway. It looks like a Galaxy. It's got like a lime green, a Volt green outsole. It's got like a Galaxy looking upper, and it's a little purplish. But I love that silhouette. I don't know what it is about that silhouette. I don't know if I'm just buying into the hype.
Possibly.
I think it's dope, dude.
I mean, you're a huge basketball fan.
I'm a huge basketball fan, but those don't look like they're obviously techie. Do those look techie to you?
Yes.
They do?
Yeah.
Okay.
They look too out of they look too gimmicky.
You know what I think?
You remember when Russell Westbrook, like I'll give you an example. You remember when Russell Westbrook brought out like the Super Soaker
I remember
looking
those.
like and with the different it's just gimmicky to me.
Not these. You know what I think I know. Like it just came to me. What it is that I like about these sneakers is the laces. They're like those old skate shoe laces. I don't know what they call that. They're not round laces, but they're kind of like. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like laces that you would see on a skate shoe.
Yeah. The big fat durable ones.
Kind of like I guess they're durable and fat. I think that's what I like about them. They kind of look like skate shoes to me, and I don't know. I just love that sneaker. And I don't think it's right to just be like, let me just erase that sneaker forever because it's Puma. It's Puma's first time to shine.
That's just being biased.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Hey, Puma has a catalog.
They have a catalog.
Yeah. Don't be fooled. Okay.
But shout out to Michael, one of the OG triple OGs in the group. Appreciate you. I do agree with the OG Chicago colorway for the Union LA Air Jordan 2. Who knows? It might happen in the future, and then people will call you a savant. But shout out to Michael for writing in. Next up, we have Colin Michael Keith. He says, "Wow, it's been a while." Clears throat. Absolutely 100%. And by the way, he's saying it's been a while because we used to do these segments on our regular audio podcast, but it's our first time doing it on the video podcast. He says, absolutely 100% wear the 650s. Still upset I didn't pre-order. Remake the Union 2s into lows. Probably the only other shoe than shell toes I prefer in a low cut. And he says he would erase those Pumas. Don't know why people were saying they're nice. They look like a shoe that should have been released 10 years ago. Maybe they're great on the court, but style-wise, he put the yawn emoji. So, yeah, he says that he would remake the Union 2s into lows because he prefers them in a low.
That actually sounds pretty cool.
It just kind of makes sense, right?
Can you imagine them as a low? I mean, I love Jordan 2 lows.
Me too. Yeah.
I think they look nice.
Yeah.
I think they look nice. I think they look clean. I wouldn't mind it one bit. You know what I mean? Would it? I don't know if it would actually look good in the Union colorway though.
Right.
You know?
I think
because I think it would make them a little too busy.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I kind of like them as a high for that colorway, but like they're like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Air Jordan 2 infrared.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that sneaker. I want that sneaker so bad. I saw Eugene post that in the group the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I need those.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're pretty affordable on eBay for Jordan, like in the $200 range.
It's crazy because like back when Foot Action was still in business, like they were just sitting there. Like that's how bad people didn't like the Jordan 2.
Oh man. Yeah, I would kill for a pair of those, like especially dead stock. Yeah. I'm gonna have to probably get them used.
I think I got back when I was reselling sneakers, like a true villain that I was, dude, I think I bought a pair for like $30.
Okay.
And I flipped it for $80.
Damn.
I know, right?
Damn, that same pair?
I think so, dude. If you check
I hate you for that.
But dude, like you weren't even into sneakers back then.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But I would love those in a low.
Yeah.
Shout out to Colin for writing in. We'll do one more and then we'll keep this going. So Robert Brown, the homie Robert Brown,
Big Rob.
You already know.
Hey,
what's Rob gonna wear?
Hey, he's gonna wear a Reebok, and it's either gonna be a Reebok.
No. We're doing
high top.
Yeah.
Oh, the high top. Oh, yeah.
He's a high top.
Are you ready? And he's a retro high top guy.
Only retro high top. So, of course, what were you gonna say about Rob before we get into it?
Hey, Rob likes his high top sneakers, man.
I love Rob, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out to Robert Brown.
Shout out to Rob. Hey, shout out to Robert. Hey, I saw that care package that you sent me. All right, I appreciate you,
man. You're the best, dude. And if you want to follow him, his name is East Coast Soul Supplier Incorporated on Instagram, and he's an awesome dude out there in the Bronx. He says he would wear the New Balance 650Rs. Of course, he's wearing those because that's has his name all over. I think he's bought like 3 pairs of the same color right now. He said he would remake the Jordan 2s, use high quality premium leather, make it weatherproof, and have ortholite so that you'll be able to play basketball in them, and have a heavy duty EVA outsole to play outdoors. And he said he would erase the Mellow One, too loud and sugary as fuck for my taste. They look like Jolly Ranchers. They kind of do look like Jolly Ranchers.
That's true.
Shout out to Rob. Shout out to everybody who wrote in. We got to keep things moving. Let's talk about the sneaker that made you a sneakerhead. That's why you're here. I'd like to give a few of you a chance to sound off on today's topic before my brother and I hog the mic more than we've already been hogging the mic. And Al Esclante says, in the 1980s, my mom got me a pair of Nike Nike Bruins with the University Blue swoosh, hooked. So that's the sneaker that got him hooked. Speaking of Robert Brown says the sneaker wars between Reebok and Nike is what lit the fire for him. So it was that's what started the sneaker, because it was crazy. Like everybody knew about the wars between those two.
That was me.
That was you, right?
That's how I ended.
That's how you got into it.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Because you had to be repping something.
Oh, dude.
Was there brand? Did you have brand loyalty back then?
Huh? Yes.
I don't know if you guys could hear that. I think a firework just went off.
Yeah, well, it is 4th of July.
It's 4th of July.
You know what I mean? You got to blow something up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Name of freedom out here.
We gotta. I hope our producer's okay. I hope he just wasn't popped right now.
Oh man.
We got Devontae Edwards. I almost said Devon. I always call him Devontae Adams. Like
hey, shout out to Fresno State. You know
what I mean? My homie Devontae Edwards says the Jordan 13. As a kid, that design blew my fucking mind. I spent at least an hour in my sister's closet looking at a beat up pair. Now I unbox all my sneakers in the closet. It's a ritual, I guess.
That's pretty wild.
That is wild. He goes in the sneaker. That's where he unboxes his stuff. Mm-hmm. Trey Dell says it was the Flint 13s. So same as you, Devontae. And we got a bunch more write-ins that we'll go over during the main portion of the podcast. We're going to cue up some music, and when it stops, my brother Nacho and I are going to talk about the sneakers that made us and you guys a lifelong sneakerhead. Let's get into the show. Boom. So I'm going to go ahead and just try to guess real quick, just because you're my brother, and I think I've heard you tell the story many times, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
The sneaker that made you a sneakerhead was the Reebok pump, because you saw our cousin Javier wearing them. Is that correct?
It was actually our cousin Yadi, but yeah.
Cousin Yadi. Okay. Go ahead. Tell the story, bro.
All right. So, this is early all in like my childhood. Mm-hmm. I was maybe like 5, 6. I was maybe like 5, 6. And my cousin at the time was the only child. All right. And they were a little more well off than the rest of our family members, because we had just barely immigrated from Mex. Right. Mm-hmm. And he pulled up with the OG, the classics, the Reebok pumps.
This is in Fresno or Calexico?
It's in Calexico.
Okay.
We had just moved into the apartment complex right there. My dad's working in the fields, doing, what I mean? Doing what he got to do,
right,
to put food on the table or whatever. And yeah, man, I seen him, and I used to believe that all that tech that they throw on there really, really, really makes you perform better.
Oh, who didn't?
Yeah, run faster and jump higher.
I still believe that shit.
And all that stuff. Yeah, and you know what I mean? And come on, dude, they look like space boots.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I had never seen anything like that. And then the retail on them, you're talking about, over like, what, $200?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Back then.
And that's 1989, bro.
Yeah.
Like 1990, like around there. Like that. I'm talking about, this is some of my earliest memories.
Right.
And ever since then, dude, I was like, I need a pair of those.
Right.
I need a pair of those. And it didn't happen until like my adult life or my teenage years, in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you got them now.
Oh yeah, I got them now.
Where did you cop those at Ross?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Damn. For how much? Do you remember?
Like $40.
$40.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got
OG.
the black tops. And then I got the Omani Zone pumps.
The Omni Zone.
Yeah, the Omni Zone. I'm sorry.
My brother's dyslexic.
Yeah.
That's why I got the laptop.
Yeah. Appreciate you. You know what I mean?
The Omani Zone.
Yeah, the Omani Zone.
Elliot's the same way, our other brother.
Yeah.
But we actually had the privilege of interviewing the person who designed the Reebok pump.
Yeah. Shout out to Big Paul Litchfield.
Paul Litchfield, that's right. We had him on the audio version of this podcast. before we had the fancy video set up, and it was great. He told us all about, the
how the step was and everything like that.
How like innovative it was, like how hard it was to do.
Yeah.
And how they pulled it off. And the prototype for that shoe, actually, I've seen he didn't tell us when we interviewed him, but I've seen other interviews of him where he's talking about there was a prototype. One of the early prototypes was like every step you took would pump the sneaker up a certain PSI or I don't know what to like adjust. So the pump was in the heel. So you'd be walking and it should be going like, which is pretty cool, which is kind of crazy. And if you'd like to, hear us talk to him, you should definitely check that out. We're on Spotify. Just search Sneaker Enthusiast, put Paul Litchfield, inventor of the Reebok Pump, and you'll see it. But yeah, that's a good sneaker to go with. And a lot of other people also, I think, we'll get into some of your guys' sneakers that started it all for you. But before that, I'll talk about mine. Mine is a kind of different. So I was like a skate rat, right? Like I went to you used to drop me off at the skate park.
Yeah.
And I would stay there from like whatever, like 9 a.m. to like 11 at night when they shut the lights off. And sometimes even I would stay when the lights were off. Like we'd be chilling in there, whatever we would be doing. But so in skateboarding culture, shoes were kind of a big deal.
Oh yeah.
So there was this one sneaker that it was kind of like the dunk before the dunk for us, for skaters. And it was called the SXL, which you know that sneaker, right?
Yeah.
It's got the big tongue.
Oh yeah.
They have like a slim version of it now. And it was all suede and black, and it had this rubber outsole on it. And I didn't even call them S back then. I called them ES. The ES XLs. And I swear, I'm not even kidding you. I had like 100 pairs of those.
Yeah, because you would shoot through them.
Yeah, because we would just skate them so hard, like they'd be gone in like a week, and my dad would be super pissed. And even on like the left foot, I'm goofy, so I would like be pedaling with this foot. It wasn't even the foot that I was like sliding against the grip tape, but just from like pushing around the pavement so much, I would get a hole on the bottom of the gum sole. But I had that sneaker in black, all black suede, and we had the brown ones. They came out with real cool like tan. I'll put some graphics of them. They had all kinds of different colors of them, and it was like real coveted. Like, oh, you got the orange ones, you got the green ones, and they were affordable. I think they were like $50 back then, or $80. And
affordable for our parents.
For our parents, yeah. But no, dude, it was clean, dude. Like, it was clean, dude. Like, we used to keep. I don't think I ever did this because when we weren't that well off. We were like getting into the middle class before some shit went down, but we didn't really have money for me to be doubling up. So, but some of my friends did, like like Brandon,
yeah,
little Goth Boy Uzi.
Goth Boy Uzi. Shout out to Goth Boy Uzi. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is.
He would have an extra pair in his backpack, so he would skate them, and then he would, after he was done skating, like he would sit on the bench, whatever, roll a joint, and he put on his fresh ones, because like that's how they were so fresh, they were dope, and you didn't want to wear your. Or we would go to like a party where there was going to be chicks, and so it was just fresh, dude. You had the fat laces, the fat tongue, so it was the SXL for me. That kind of started the whole like collecting mindset, or the whole like, I gotta have those, and then eventually it turned into the Nike Dunk, because Nike is just, I don't know, they're powerful. They broke into the skateboarding market when other brands couldn't. And but yeah, that was a sneaker that started it for me. But let's read some of your guys' sneakers. So T Honan writes in, and I think T might be Arlo Tone. I'm not sure.
He's incognito, or he's got like all
he's got all kinds of different names on Instagram, and but he says, my story could start at many different points. I've been into trainers for around 25 years. However, I'm going to start with the shoes that really kicked it off and got me collecting, rather than just a few pairs I would wear for different things. I give you the Adidas Forest Hill. He posted a picture of it, which I'll put up and I'll show you right now. He says, if you're from the UK and into football, then this is an iconic shoe. They look like I guess this is a British thing. He says, they look like the Bullocks. However, they ain't very comfortable. The pair I had back then were the pair I worn on the pitch invasion when Orient got promoted. They also went to the World Cup in Germany that summer with me. So he wore these to the World Cup, and he calls them a casual icon. So all that football lingo, I just watch basketball and the NFL, a little bit of baseball. I don't really know.
You're not into bloke wear?
No.
No?
Terrace shoes
Yeah.
But that's it right there. Can you see it?
Yeah. I think they retro those a few
How
times.
dope are these, dude?
They're dope.
I didn't even know about these. These are the
I
ones.
think I've seen them before.
They got the yellow
Mhm.
outsole, and these are fire with the gold stripes. I'd never seen them, but I think that's a pretty dope sneaker to have to kick off your.
You know, it's crazy because, like, you know, what I love about, you know, our sneaker group and stuff like that is the fact that it's worldwide.
It's worldwide.
It's
sneaker
so,
enthusiasts worldwide.
yeah. So, you know, everybody has, like, a lot of most American sneakerheads, and this is my opinion, of course. They got into they got into sneakers because
Jordan.
of basketball.
Yeah.
You know, basketball retros and things like that. You know what I mean? And then like, you know, Europeans they got into it, like, you know, the runners and things like that with the whole casual movement and stuff like
Trainers.
that. Yeah, the trainers, and that's what they call them. You know what I mean? And it's totally, completely something that we're not used to on this side. You know what I mean, of the pond, but we do appreciate it, of course.
I actively seek out.
Oh yeah,
UK,
me too.
like style
I
shoes.
I like that just because it looks so different, and plus it looks dope.
Yeah, it does look dope. Shout out to T. Next up, we got Max Wilder. He says, actually, I would have to say the first Jordans I got, but actually, it was the Visible Air unit from Nike. I found it so fascinating that you could almost walk on air. Of course, the other sports shoe manufacturers were also very cool with their ideas, like Reebok with the Pump and Hexalite, or Converse with its React Gel, but nothing was as cool as Visible Air. Many say Nike wouldn't be here today without Jordan, but imagine if Nike hadn't made the Air system visible or even invented it. I don't think Nike would be where it is today without the Visible Air unit, even with Jordan. So for him, it was when Nike, when Tinker Hatfield, in the thing,
87,
right, in '87, like, which, you know, I think even for me, like, even though I wasn't alive back then, but I remember, like, hearing, like, I think it might have been you might have had like a pair of sneakers, or maybe even our parents, and they had, like, I just remember poking at the bubble. It was just the coolest thing.
Yeah, those were mine.
Those are yours?
Yeah.
Do you remember what shoe it was?
Yeah, that was a Nike Air Max Up Tempo.
Nike Air Max, your first pair of sneakers that you really.
Yeah.
Somebody talks about those here in the
Yeah, it was my first pair of, like, expensive sneakers that my parents got. You know. Yeah.
What was that like for you as a kid? Like when you first saw the Air.
Okay, so when you first see the Air, dude, it's crazy. You put it up to the light and you look through it and you put your hand through it. It's amazing. You know what I mean? And then the bigger the air bubbles got, the cooler it was.
Right.
The cooler it was. But, you know, they were really expensive. I mean, they were name brand shoes.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Like, you really couldn't, like,
Zapatos de marca.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, why are they so expensive? You know what I mean? And then with that air bubble and you being a kid, and back then we used to play outside, you would ruin those fast.
Right.
You know what I mean? You would ruin those fast if you didn't take care of them. And let me tell you, we weren't taking care of our sneakers back then.
Right.
You know, we were wearing them into the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so my parents couldn't afford, you know, those, you know what I mean, until later, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, but the air bubble, honestly, I don't think Nike would be where Nike is without that air bubble.
Right.
You know,
and I think a lot of people will tell you, like, it's just a gimmick.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, it's not even that comfortable. Like, it wears out real quick.
Yeah.
But it was just the greatest, you know, besides the whatever Jordan getting his sneakers banned, it was just like the greatest marketing revelation of all time. Like, Phil Knight is a gangster for that. Like,
dude,
and
like, think about it. Like, even like your rivals,
Tinker Hatfield, my bad.
Yeah.
He's the one who pushed for it.
Yeah. But even like your rivals are doing like you know what I mean, like the you know what I mean, pump up and air out, like, you know what I mean, that's how big of a deal it was. You know what I mean? And some people in, like, who are into shoes called Nike Airs.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're like, oh, are those Nike Airs? Like, they're Nikes, but yeah, you know.
I got my Nike Airs on.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. It changed the game, and I could see how that would lure you into sneakers.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Shout out to Max Wilder for writing in. Next up, we got Glenn Goodberry. He says, I'd obsess over my shoes since starting school in the late 80s, from a pair of Velcro Ninja Turtle shoes to LA Lights being a must-have. But the Nike Air More Up Tempo in the black and white colorway was the one shoe that started it for me back in 1996. Obsessed about it, but never got it. Ended up starting school with the Nike Air Tenacity Low and then getting the Reebok Kamikaze 2, and that's the shoe that put me on the map. 20 years and countless shoes later, including an Air Force One obsession, I obtained the very first pair of black and white More Up Tempos, which I've since retired and displayed in my man cave and nerd room. Have you seen Glenn's in the group? Have you seen his?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so dope. He's got like a checkered floor.
Yeah, I don't know how his wife stands with me.
He must pull in a lot of money or something.
Yeah.
But he says, so well, by the way, if you have not seen this, guys, you should you join the group and just search Glenn Goodberry in the Facebook group. It's so dope. You gotta start a channel or something, Glenn. But he said the Nike Air Tenacity Low was a sneaker that he had to settle with. And then he got the Reebok Kamikaze later. But have you ever seen this sneaker?
What, the Tenacity Low?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen them. I had to look these up, and I got the picture right here for you.
Yeah. A lot of kids had those back in the days.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was I had those in like 7th. Well, I didn't have them, but I would see them like, in 7th grade.
Right. That is kind of like a classic like 90s look right there.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn's got a crazy collection of sneakers. And,
the more Air Up Tempos, though?
Yeah, those are the ones.
Well, when I seen them, I remember seeing them, and I was just like, whoa, this is insane. You know what I mean? The big air on the side, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks wild, and then the full air bubble, and then they put even a bubble on the bottom of the sole, and it was
Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was really cool. And then the 3M on it. Oh, dude, when you wore those, it was crazy.
Do you have a pair of those?
I had a pair of the Olympics, but I ended up selling it.
Dude, you need a pair. Yeah. I need a pair. Just the OG black and white.
You know, the thing is, I don't wear like heavy shoes anymore like that. I wear more older, like slimmer down shoes.
Right.
Because like the basketball retros, it's hot out here, man. I need to wear low tops.
Right.
And I like to wear, runners because one, I'm already a heavy set dude. I can't be out there just.
I do find myself
dragging my foot.
Like I have a bunch of cool sneakers that I could wear, but I find myself always going to sneaker that's the easiest to put on.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be kind of cool. Like it can't be like some whack, but like sometimes I'll be like, it's gonna take me like an extra 30 seconds to like unlace these, put them on when I could just like slide on my New Balance. You know what I mean? It's so easy to slide on, and they just stay on your foot. So I could see why you wouldn't. But you just gotta have it just out of principle. Like
right.
One of your,
yeah, I mean it's a history piece at this point. Yeah.
Shout out to Glenn for writing in. We got up next. We got I think it's Ares Romero. He says, over the 2020 lockdown, I did a lot of watching on YouTube. Ended up watching Rose Anvil, who recommended you guys, and that's where I fell in love with sneakers. Watching the history of the Adidas NMD, that was my first sneaker, and now Jordans and Yeezys. That was my first sneaker, and now Jordans and Yeezys later, I'm a full-blown sneakerhead. So, I mean, we could talk about sneaker YouTube for hours. Right. So we'll kind of keep it brief, but like, it's crazy. Like now I guess it isn't crazy. It makes sense, but a lot of people are getting introduced to sneakers through YouTube, and not only our videos, but there's other sneaker YouTubers out there. But I just think that's wild. Like
it is. It's crazy, and I could tell this guy's young or new into sneakers. Clearly, if the NMD was his first,
right?
And see, that's the difference. There's a difference between like I guess I would be considered an old head, and you would be considered a new guy. Like
what do you call me, a new jack?
Yeah, you fucking new jack. Yeah, you know what I mean. Same thing. Like, and so is this kid. But like, you know what I mean. It's all about the appreciation and the love of the silhouette.
Right.
You know what I mean. And obviously, it's really awesome that we had some kind of influence into the sneakers that this guy likes.
It is kind of crazy.
You know what I mean? Think about it. Like that's wild.
But it's almost like we didn't have the influence. Like we just told the story.
Yeah.
But I mean, we bothered to do it.
Yes.
And so
nobody else is bothering to tell a story. Everybody's just like, these are worth $500. Oh my God, I want them.
Yeah. we are telling the story. So sign up for the Patreon.
Yeah, sign up, dude. Come on.
We bothered to do that for you.
You know what I mean? $2 hollers.
But it is a $2 holla to join the Sneaker Enthusiast Facebook group, www.patreon.com/NachoAverageFinds. Abner Garcia says it was the Reebok Pump Michael Chang. Still the shoe I never had, but always wanted. The colorway so damn 90s, and the tennis ball pump was the cherry on top. Ended up getting pumps at a Foot Locker outlet in the 6th grade, but damn, my love for shoes started there.
That's tight. The Michael Changs are classic, and those are dope, especially with that neon.
So they got neon on them, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Michael Chang pumps, at the time, Nike had Andre Agassi, and the neon was all the rage in the early 90s and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? And so Michael Chang was this is, again, back to the sneaker wars. Right. You know what I mean? That everybody's going to, like, oh, you have Andre Agassi? Well, we got Michael Chang.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And someone had to have a big tennis star, and they were loud, and they were flashy, and they have some really, really dope colorways.
They do.
Some of the OG colorways, too.
Yeah. Reebok, the Michael Chang, the ads. I remember when I was doing the video for the Reebok Pump history, the ads for Michael Chang were sweet.
Yeah.
I could see why you were lured into that.
Yeah.
And it is super 90s, and it is, it is a sneaker that if I had seen, I think I would have fell in love with it if I was just a little bit older.
Yeah.
Back then. Shout out to Abner for writing in. All right, so we got a big one. We got Aaron Preacher. He says, I need 2 answers. I need to answer this in 2 parts. Part 1. I've always had a love for sneakers through my love of basketball. During the 90s when I was in elementary school, I can't quite put my exact finger on a specific model, but I did feel like the particular sneakers that certain NBA superstars had was part of what made them great. And even further, the power was transferable to those that purchased those sneakers. And part 2, he says, but sometime around the spring of 1997, maybe the fall of 1996, I absolutely fell in love with the Air Force One mid with the jewel. That was unquestionably the love that made me want... That was unquestionably the shoe that made me want to have multiple pairs of the same sneaker in different colorways that I could match with my outfits on different days of the week. And that was particularly during middle school and all of high school and college. The driving force of my sneaker purchasing, collecting. And while I can't tell you what specific Air Force One mid colorway, which was the one, I have extremely fond and specific memories about this pair, which I had to own. And once it appeared in the Mo Money, Mo Problems video, couldn't nobody tell me nothing. Can you guess which one it is?
No, I can't guess. But
I have it right here.
The Mo Money, Mo Problems. That was a great video. You know what I mean?
These are dope.
Let me see. Yeah, those are dope.
So you guys are probably seeing this on the screen right now. They are some. You know what? I am such a new jack that Colin in the group who wrote in earlier. He has this thing for jeweled Air Force One mids.
Yeah,
he's obsessed with it, and I thought it was like a new thing.
Really?
I was like, yo, what is Nike doing? Like, just use the regular swoosh. I didn't know it was like like a OG thing. Like
yeah.
East Coast. Now, I mean, he put me up on game, but that makes me want them now. It's crazy. Yeah. Like once that is the power of learning more about the culture and the history behind things. Like now I'm like, yo, that's pretty dope. It is. I think it is kind of more of an East Coast thing.
Yeah.
But like those sneakers right there, I want those sneakers now. After just hearing this dude's story.
Out here we had the Cortez jewels.
Cortez jewels. See, I like those actually. Yeah. I don't mind that.
Yeah. I like the Air Max 1, Air Max 1 jewels.
Is that hey, we had a TikTok go viral recently about the Cortez.
Oh man. They're getting at me right now.
They're net banging in the comments?
Bro, my man can't even wear a Fresno State hat and a Nike Cortez without thinking you're out here.
I'm surprised that nobody's talking about the low socks. I'm really shocked. Yeah. I'm waiting for Who's Going Wild to see it. Nah. We'll see if they repost it. But that'd be dope if they did. Maybe we should send it to them.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. I was gonna ask you, what the jeweled Cortezes, are those more gangster? Nah. Less gangster.
You can't get no, like, I don't know, like the Cortez, there's levels to it. You know that, right? All right. So the Cortez, you have like the nylon ones, and those are like the budget ones. And then if you had a little bit of money, you got the leather ones.
Okay.
You know what I mean, but I've always liked the leather ones versus the nylon ones, just for the simple fact that they don't make any noise and they don't have the wrinkles on the side and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, and they just look more primo.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
But like the thugged out ones, man, those were the canvas, like, the nylon ones. They're very
navy blue. They're real cheap.
Yeah.
They're kind of cheap.
They're either navy
affordable,
blue, black. You know what I mean?
I had those, and I wasn't even trying to be thugged out, but I had the nylon. I think I got them at Ross.
You did
before I was a sneakerhead, but I remember like trying to hop like fences and stuff, and you just feel everything.
Yeah,
it wasn't comfortable. I'd rather have leather ones for sure.
Yeah.
But shout out to Aaron Preacher for that, for writing that, for talking. That was dope, dude. The jeweled swoosh. Next we got Tony Clifton.
Big Tone.
He's sort of a star in the group, and man, this is a long one. All right, we got his, and then we got two more, and then we'll be out of here. So Tony Clifton writes in. He says, "Let me preface my comment by saying that yes, I love Jordan 13s, and I beat their drum to death." So this guy, I don't know if you know that, if you've seen him, but all he wears is Jordan 13s.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just to be a dork, but mostly because those are my first J's I was able to get in 1998. The black varsity red, or simply known as the Breads. But believe it or not, I'm going to go a different direction here. For me, the love of shoes I honestly believe I was born with. Growing up and in and around the city of Pittsburgh in the early late 80s, my family, we were really poor. We did not even have we did not even shop for clothes until my mother met my stepfather in 1988. I know some of y'all feel this. We was always receiving help from different churches and places like Salvation Army and stuff like that. We didn't even go to Goodwill. I wish I could make this shit up, but we were just not able to afford anything. Food, toys, nothing. So I never thought much about shoes or none for that first part of my life because he was too broke.
Right.
It wasn't until my mom met my aforementioned stepfather that I really got into stores and shit, like going into stores, I guess, because he was that broke. So I guess around 89, 90, I started to care about my footwear and gear in general. But I was still in LA Gears and McGregor's from Hill's department stores. And my friends around the neighborhood I lived in and I would share clothes in the early 90s. I know some of y'all can relate. I feel like maybe that you can relate to it. He says it wasn't really till the mid 90s when I started to get locked up. So I guess when he was in jail, or I think he might be talking about basketball. I'm not sure. Around 92, 96, that I really started to understand that I would need at least a mid-level shoe like the Air Max at the time to stay afloat. Not that I was ever worried about a thing, but yeah, I remember in my neighborhoods, none of the little kids had basically anything, and I was one of the poorest, so I don't recall caring what shoes were relevant in the mid 80s. I was trying to borrow some sugar and bread, so I could make some sugar bread. He says, "You think I'm playing?" But once I got into a situation where shoes had some sort of relevance, juvenile placements, whether superficial or not, I then had to put the pressure on my step pops and mom to keep me in something decent, which to the credit they did. It wasn't until I got out of trouble and out on my own by 17, working, hustling, living, that I was able to get them 13s. It's been on ever since. Believe that. Sorry for the fucking book, but I had no short answer for this.
Sounds like you lived a pretty wild life, Tone.
My homie Tony, whose real name is Jake. We'll put him on blast. Jake.
Tone.
But yeah, I mean, you sharing clothes with your friends in the 90s kind of hits home. I did that even.
I think everyone did that.
Everyone did that, right?
Everyone did that. And it's kind of gross now that I think about it.
It is, right?
Because, well, like, I don't know, like back then, like dark denim was like new, like real dark denim.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sharing that shit with my buddy, and we didn't wash them because we didn't want them to fade. And then I would wear them like right after this dude, like, you know, and be like, hey, let me borrow those for a week.
Right.
And think about that. That's gross.
Yeah. For me, it was like the Lacoste polos.
Yeah.
Oh, we was skating them all day. And be like, yo, let me.
Yeah.
Or even white tees and stuff.
Yeah. Or we would trade shoes.
Trade shoes.
And then like, and it would be gross because like back then we didn't even wash. Like, I mean, I buy you shoes, but I sanitize like with Lysol,
right.
Like with the liquid Lysol, and I throw mine in the wash. Like, you know,
back then, no. Hell no.
But back then, dude, you just threw them on.
Sweaty ass kid in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would do that all the time.
Yeah.
Actually, that's how I believe this or not, you guys might flip out in the comments, but I actually skated in a pair of Tiffany Dunks. I skated, my homie had them, and they were dope. Like, I didn't know the significance of them or whatever, but they were fly.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, let me skate those. Like, and we switched shoes for like the day, and I thought it was real tight.
Yeah.
I skated the shit out of them. I skated the shit out of all kinds of the I think they call them the Jedis.
Yeah.
Those dunks too. We used to share, but it wasn't because I was as poor as Tony here. But yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
The sharing thing. Thanks for bringing that up, and thank you to Tony for writing in. Shout out to the Air Jordan 13, one of the ugliest Jordans, I think.
They're ugly,
from
but
1 to 14.
They're ugly, but I remember when I seen them, and I remember that little hologram in the back being super cool.
That's so 90s, yeah.
And the 3M, and I was like, dude, that little hologram back there, that shit was crazy.
They do that. The hologram is the best.
And I remember a sixth grade kid being followed home, man, because they were trying to get that kid.
Damn.
Yeah, that's yeah, dude. That's how it was back then.
Might have been
man.
Tony.
Yeah, nah, Tony was in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean?
He was in Pittsburgh, yeah.
Yeah,
of course. But who knows? He might have been over here, dog. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know that. Out of the 1 through 14. Go ahead and crucify me. I think the Jordan 13 is the ugliest one.
Yeah?
I think so.
Yeah, I'll probably agree with you.
I think so. It looks like a couch. A couch.
Kind of.
But it is dope. I would wear them, but they are the least attractive looking ones.
Yeah.
So somebody who wears all 13s like Tony is obviously unique.
Yeah.
So we got Arvin Diciocco. That's not how you say your name. It's Arvin Diciocco. Arvin Diciocco.
What is he, Italian?
I think he might be Pinoy. Filipino homies.
Shout out to the Filipino homies out here.
Okay ka lang?
I don't know.
That means, are you okay?
Oh, okay.
I know how to speak a little Tagalog.
Oh, shit. That's tight.
Let me see if I can think of something cool to say.
No. Don't.
Pakwan sobrang sarap. That means watermelon is delicious.
How the fuck do you know this stuff?
From my coworkers, I work with a lot of Filipinos.
That's tight.
Anyways, the Kyrie 5 Mamba mentality started the real collection for me in 2020. Always wanted to collect sneakers, but my family only had the budget for Vans and Chucks, so I never owned a pair more than $60 until I started making my own money. When Kobe passed away, I really wanted a shoe to remember him by, but couldn't snag one close to my budget, so I settled for this since it's still got Kobe's signature on it. I kept looking for more online and discovered the whole world of sneaker collecting and reselling. I figured that if I could buy and flip some, I could finally get some real Kobe's. Spent so many hours watching sneaker YouTube videos about sneaker reselling that one day I landed on Wear Testers and NachoAverageFinds. Both channels honestly poured out so much information about sneakers that I just got hooked. I'm a sucker for storytelling, so I started falling in love with the sneakers I got and haven't let go since. Still learning more about this game from y'all, and it's been a pleasure hearing all the stories. So for him, it was the Kyrie 5 Mamba mentality, which I don't really know that much about Kyrie sneakers.
I don't either.
And neither do you.
And I could tell you're brand new in the sneakers if the Kyries are the ones that got you in the game.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think it's dope that it was like because when Kobe died, that's something I can talk about. Like that, I remember exactly where I was because I live in LA. Yeah. So that was a weird moment.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Really weird, bro.
It was crazy everywhere. You know what? And I think it's even crazier because it was such a tragic way to go, man. You know what I mean?
It was
like smashing
brutal,
on the side of it. Like, come on, bro, with your kids.
Rest in peace, man.
You know what I mean? R.I.P. to everyone that lost their lives on that day.
Yeah, that was horrendous. But I remember, I'll tell a story. I remember that same day, I had to take the bus. And in Hollywood, in LA, and this is 2020, so this is during the pandemic. So I had my hand sanitizer, my mask, or whatever. And actually, this is pre-pandemic. But I'm a real
a germaphobe.
I'm not a germaphobe.
He's extremely cautious.
I'm extremely cautious. That's just my personality. I don't know why.
He's the kind of kid that doesn't.
But I'm not a perfectionist.
Cracks.
I'm not like always hella anxious or anything like that. But I was like paying attention to what was going on with the COVID in China or whatever. And I was like, it's gonna happen here. This is like right before the pandemic, so this must have been in January or something. And I remember being on the bus, just not trying to touch anything, and like I had my hand sanitizers, pre-mask, and I remember there was a kid on there, and he was going to like the Staples Center. He was on the bus going there, and he had his kid, and there was a hell of people with like Kobe's jerseys on. Mm-hmm. This is in LA, like in the heart of LA, and he was singing. I think Lil Wayne has a song called Kobe or something like that, or maybe Dame. Dame Lillard, a rapper or whatever, and he was singing it at the top of his lungs, like crying. Like I didn't even know how to react, bro.
That's crazy.
But like the passing of Kobe Bryant, such a huge figure in culture, like I could see why that might have been like, you know what, I want to, own a pair of his sneakers, and you probably couldn't get them because there was a lot of assholes.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy because
that was crazy, right?
Like, this is back when I was like reselling sneakers, and this was towards the end of when I was reselling things. I remember I picked up a few Kobe hats at Burlington's, and dude, I was selling them for like $20, and then within that like 2 days, they shot up all the way up to like 300.
Yeah,
and I just pulled it, bro. I couldn't do it. Like I just felt like such a jerk if I did it. Yeah, so I was like, I deleted the listing, and I still have that hat.
Yeah,
I just still have that.
Keep it forever.
Yeah, just because it just felt wrong,
Yeah, I could, but and that's probably why he got the Kyries. But like I said, I don't really know much about the Kyrie sneaker line. I just know that they got SpongeBob's. Yeah. That's it. That's all I know.
That's it.
But shout out to my guy Arvin for writing in. Appreciate you, dude.
Hopefully you stay in the game for a while, man.
He will, bro.
Oh.
He's in the group.
Oh, okay.
He's in the group. If you're in the group,
you're in good hands, bro.
If you're in the group and you're active, you're never getting out of this. You're alive for it.
That's it.
That's it, bro. Until Facebook says, you know what? No more groups. We're holding it down.
The metaverse.
The metaverse. Yeah, it's gonna be part of the metaverse.
Sorry, bro. The metaverse.
It's all good. So all right. So our last and final write-in, we got our man D Lee.
Shout out to D Lee.
D Lee. I kind of hesitated on his last name because I keep pronouncing it right, and he'll even message me. Yeah. But it's D Lee, like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Over there in Australia, he says he's got a good one. So this is our final sneaker that made you a sneakerhead story. He says the year was 1992. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing "End of the Road" by Boyz II Men, "To Be With You" by Mr. Big, or "Achy Breaky Heart" because white people felt like they needed to conquer square dancing. Shrug. It was a U.S. election year, and the world met a charismatic young man who would be the president named Bill Clinton. I turned 9 years old that year, and I was just starting to notice girls. I was 110% sure that Janet Jackson would be my boo thing. If only I could figure out how to let her know that I was alive. A sentiment that I still hold to this day. This was the year that my love of sneakers began too. My dad remarried, and I got an older stepbrother named Mark. He was a hoe-ass bitch, but his girlfriend was so fine. She was caramel complected, so sexy, wore plaid flannel shirts, ripped jeans, and she had a pair of Puma Clydes that I couldn't keep my eyes off of. She bought Mark some Converse Aerojet RS2s that he didn't deserve, and I coveted them badly. She bought me a pair of LA Lights that I did deserve, and them things was sweet. They were black and lit up red at the back, down the sides, and when I got back to school, I knew I was the freaking man. These things lit up. This was technology on a different scale, and I owned them. Because of these sneakers, suddenly I was cool as fuck in the second grade. I started dating my own caramel-complected girl, and these shoes left me with a lot of memories, and they were the start of many things. My love of caramel-complected women remains to this day, as does my love of sneakers, and in my mind, I'm still the fucking man.
I like that. I mean, sounds like he's more into brown sugar than he is sneakers.
My guy D out there in Australia, I don't know what your options are like out there, bro. You got to come over here.
Oh, dude, he'd go crazy out here.
You go crazy out here, bro.
But if you ever make it down here, man, we'll introduce you to some ladies out here.
Yeah, I got a lot of cousins.
Caramel complexion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We got you. We're Mexican. We look white, but I got some.
We're pretty well blended in there.
Yeah, I got a big family.
Yeah,
we'll introduce you, bro. But yeah, dude. So it was for him. It was the LA Lights.
Hell yeah. You know what? The LA Lights was crazy because I had a pair of LA Lights too. Not the sneakers, but I had a pair of the
chanclas.
The chanclas, but like it was the sandals, but the ones with the strap in the back.
Right. You know I think I remember those. I remember you wearing those,
bro. And on the back of the strap it said LA Gear back there, or LA Lights, and they would light up. And I have a vivid memory of when the lights would go off and we would play hide and go seek. Mm-hmm. They would find me easily because of those damn shoes.
Oh yeah, hide and seek and LA Lights was the best. That's like so nostalgic to me. Yeah. I had. I'm pretty sure I had the fake ones at Payless, and my mom got us.
Yeah.
And Elliot had them too, our other brother. And I remember those being like, you felt so cool with those.
Oh, dude, it was awesome, especially when you're really, really young.
That's how you got the high nuts back then.
Oh, bro, you know what I mean? Check it out.
It's like,
you know what I mean?
There was back then. There was two ways you can get a girl in the second grade or first grade. I don't know. Did your school have lineup? And they go line up, and you have to line up right after recess. Like the bell would ring, and then you had to line up, or you get in trouble.
Yeah.
So either you were the fastest dude, and the girls liked you because you got the line up quick, or you had the LA lights.
Yeah.
And at recess, they'd be like, "Oh my god," you know, and you would
be killing them.
Be killing them, but that's how you got the girls back then.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Anything for the highness.
That's it. Shout out to the highness.
To that. But anyways, the LA lights were a big deal, and I could see why they made you feel that way. And I appreciate you sharing that with us. I appreciate everybody who wrote in and played Where One Remake One, or Where One Remake One Erase One, SoleSwap, and this was super fun.
Yeah,
it was really fun, right? And so this is going to be more of like a discussion podcast. It's going to be more community based. We're not going to have any big guests for now. If we do, it'll probably be like electronically. We'll have to figure that out. I don't know. Maybe we'll put a screen here. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Be kind of crazy, right? Like a robot style.
Like Power Rangers.
Steven Smith right there on the screen.
Zordon, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That'd be crazy. We'll have to ask our podcast producer about that. But shout out to everybody who watched. This is a brand new YouTube channel for us. This is a big project. We were excited to do it. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you guys in a week or two. And I'll see you soon, fool.
All right, man.
We're gonna go hit the barbecue.
Yep. Today's 4th of July, right? Hopefully you guys are eating ribs, hot dogs, hamburgers, and if you're Mexican, you're probably gonna eat carne asada.
We're eating pozole.
We're eating pozole in the summer.
Hot soup. Yeah. So it's like about 100 degrees out here. We're about to have some soup in the backyard.
Well, what are we gonna do? Yeah?
Well, it's gonna be bomb.
Hell yeah.
And I got to drive all the way to LA and start editing this. So yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.